Imagine for a moment, you wake up one day to find that you've been drafted into the US military. Are you ready for such a sudden change in your life? Let's think about it for a second. A life where your morning coffee is replaced by a stringent military regimen and your everyday routine is turned on its head. A life where your duty to your country becomes your primary responsibility and your family's safety a lingering concern. Now, why are we talking about this? The answer lies in the shifting global landscape. The world is a complex chessboard, and nations are moving their pieces strategically. With rising tensions between global powers like China and Russia, the stakes have never been higher. And with the US military facing recruitment crises, a controversial new bill is stirring the waters, potentially making the draft an imminent reality. What would this mean for you, your family? Our nation's security hangs in the balance. As citizens, we must be prepared, not just for the possibility of being called to serve, but also for the aftermath of a potential attack on the mainland US. So the question remains, are you prepared? Do you have what you need to ensure your safety and survival in a crisis? If the answer is no, or even if you're unsure, worry not. We're here to help you navigate these troubled waters. Today, we will uncover the top 5 crucial preparations you need to stockpile. From medical supplies and over-the-counter medicines to non-perishable foods, from water and purification systems to firearms and ammunition, and finally, your shelter and defense plan. We will cover it all. These essentials could make the difference between survival and despair in a potential emergency. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive right into the 5 crucial preps you need to stockpile. It's time to take control, to be proactive rather than reactive. Because remember, in the face of adversity, the most powerful weapon you can wield is preparedness. First on our list is medical supplies, over-the-counter medicines, and the knowledge to use them. Now, when we talk about medical supplies, we're referring to a broad range of items. These could include first aid kits, bandages, antiseptics, and even prescription medications that you or your family members might need. But here's the kicker. Having a stockpile of these supplies is only half the equation. It's equally important to have the knowledge to use them effectively. Think about it. What good is a first aid kit if you don't know how to properly clean and dress a wound? Or what use is an EpiPen if you don't know how to administer it in case of an allergic reaction? That's why it's crucial to educate yourself on basic first aid and emergency response procedures. You don't have to become a certified paramedic, but knowing the basics could mean the difference between life and death in an emergency situation. So, what sort of items should you include in your medical stockpile? Well, a good starting point is a comprehensive first aid kit, complete with bandages, antiseptic wipes, tweezers, medical tape, and a digital thermometer. Over-the-counter medications such as pain relievers, antidiarrheals, and antihistamines should also be included. And don't forget about prescription medications. If you or any of your family members rely on certain drugs, try to have at least a month's supply on hand. However, this can be tricky due to prescription regulations, so it's best to discuss this with your healthcare provider. Lastly, consider adding some health and wellness books to your stockpile. These can be invaluable resources when medical help is not immediately available. Look for books that cover basic first aid, emergency medical procedures, and natural remedies. Remember, having the right supplies is just half the battle. Knowing how to use them is equally crucial. So don't just stockpile these items, learn how to use them. Because in the face of adversity, knowledge is power, and that power could save a life. Next on our list, we have non-perishable foods, multivits, and supplements. In a crisis situation, having a reliable food supply is not just about preventing hunger. It's about maintaining your strength, health, and morale. It's about survival. So what kind of food should you stockpile? Well, think of foods that have a long shelf life, require minimal preparation, and are nutrient-rich. Canned goods such as fruits, vegetables, and meats are a prime example. They can last for years and provide essential nutrients. Don't forget about dry goods like rice, beans, pasta, and oats. They are versatile, easy to store, and can serve as a base for many meals. But here's the thing. While these foods can certainly keep you alive, they might not provide all the nutrients your body needs. This is where multivitamins and supplements come into play. They can help fill nutritional gaps and boost your immune system. For example, consider stockpiling vitamin C to support immune function, calcium for bone health, and B vitamins for energy production. Now, let's talk about protein. It's vital for maintaining muscle mass and promoting recovery. But in a survival situation, fresh meat might not be readily available, so Consider alternatives like canned tuna, chicken, or even protein bars and powders. And don't forget about comfort foods. Yes, you heard it right. Comfort foods like chocolate, coffee, or your favorite snack can be a fantastic morale booster during stressful times. But remember, it's not enough to just stockpile these foods. You also need to rotate them regularly to ensure they're always fresh when you need them. And if possible, learn how to preserve your own food. This skill can be invaluable in a long-term survival situation. In conclusion, having a stockpile of non-perishable foods, multivitamins, and supplements is a critical part of any emergency preparedness plan. Because when disaster strikes, the local grocery store may not be an option. Stocking up on the right food and nutrition can be a game changer during a crisis. Coming in at number 3, we have water and purification systems. Now, it's a fact we all know, but one that bears repeating. Water is an essential element for life. Our bodies are made up of over 70% water, and without it, we can only survive for about 3 days. In a situation where your regular water supply is compromised, having a reliable way to purify water becomes a crucial survival strategy. Let's dive a bit deeper into this. Clean water isn't just necessary for drinking, but also for cooking, cleaning, and maintaining hygiene. Dirty water can carry diseases and harmful bacteria, which can escalate a crisis situation from bad to worse in no time. This is why it's so important to have a system in place to ensure you have access to clean, safe water at all times. There are several water purification systems you can consider. Boiling is a simple method, but it requires a heat source and a lot of fuel, which might not always be available. Water purification tablets are portable and easy to use, but they often have a limited shelf life. A more sustainable solution is a water filter. Portable water filters are compact and can remove over 99% of waterborne bacteria and parasites. They are an excellent investment for any emergency preparedness kit. For a more long-term solution, consider installing a gravity-fed water filtration system in your home. These can purify large quantities of water without electricity, making them a reliable option in a power outage situation. You might also want to consider rainwater harvesting systems. With the right filtration, rainwater can provide a renewable source of clean water. Remember, water is life. Having access to clean water can make a world of difference during a crisis. It's not just about quenching your thirst, but maintaining your overall health and well-being in challenging times. So stock up, prepare, and ensure you and your loved ones are never without this most vital resource. At number 2, we have firearms and ammunition. In a world that seems increasingly uncertain, these tools can be crucial for the protection of yourself and those you hold dear. No one ever hopes to use them, but in a crisis, they can make a significant difference. Now, it's not just about owning a firearm. Understanding the legal aspects of firearm ownership is equally important. Each state has its own laws and regulations, so do your research. Know what you can legally own and how to use it responsibly. Remember, a firearm is a tool, not a solution. It's only as effective as the person wielding it. So consider taking a safety course or training session. Learn how to handle, store, and maintain your firearm. And of course, don't forget ammunition. Stockpile responsibly, taking into account your needs and the legal limits. Having the means to protect yourself and your loved ones is vital in any crisis situation. And finally, at number 1, we have shelter and a defense plan. In these uncertain times, having a secure shelter and a solid defense plan is not just important, it's essential. Think about it. A shelter is your fortress, your sanctuary. It's the place where you'll feel safe when everything else seems to be falling apart. Now let's talk defense. A good defense plan is like a well-constructed chess game, always a few steps ahead. It might include securing all entrances and exits, having a safe room, or even setting up surveillance systems. You might also want to consider a bug-in versus bug-out plan. The former means fortifying your home and staying put, while the latter involves having a secure location to retreat to. Remember, the key is preparation and foresight. A secure shelter and a solid defense plan can mean the difference between survival and disaster. So there you have it, the top 5 crucial preps to stockpile in case of a potential draft into the U.S. military. Let's take a moment to recap. First, we discussed the importance of medical supplies and knowledge. In the face of a crisis, having a well-stocked first aid kit and the know-how to use it could be a lifesaver. It's not just about bandages and antiseptics. Over-the-counter medicines for common ailments are just as vital. The ability to provide immediate medical assistance, be it for minor injuries or managing chronic conditions, is an indispensable skill in a survival scenario. Next, we delved into the necessity of food and nutrition. Non-perishable foods like canned goods, dried fruits, and grains are your best friends in a long-term survival situation. But remember, it's not just about filling your stomach. Maintaining good health is equally important. That's where multivitamins and supplements come in. They can help fill any nutritional gaps and keep your immune system in fighting form. Then we highlighted the critical role of water and purification systems. Water is life. Without it, survival is next to impossible. Having a reliable source of clean water and a way to purify questionable sources can make or break your survival strategy. Our fourth focus was on firearms and ammunition. In a crisis, personal safety becomes paramount, and having the means to protect yourself and your loved ones could be critical. It's not about promoting violence, but rather ensuring your safety in an uncertain world. Finally, we talked about having a shelter and a defense plan. Whether you choose to bug in or bug out, having a secure place to stay and a plan to defend it is a cornerstone of any survival strategy. Remember, being prepared can make all the difference. Stay safe and stay prepared.